Today, we're going to talk about 5 of the big things to be considering as you begin your homeschool journey with your family. Hi, I'm Lisa, the Catholic Marathon Mom. This is a lifestyle channel all about faith, marriage, motherhood. Making a decision as a family to homeschool is a big one. I've got 5 big things to think about as you start your homeschool journey. The first one will be a space. Where do you plan to homeschool with your kids? Although some families have one room that they dedicate just for schooling, that is not necessary to be a homeschooler. When we started homeschooling almost 12 years ago, we were a family of 6 in a 1,400 square foot house. We did not have a dedicated room, no basements, no attics, no second floor for a homeschool room. Back then, our homeschool room was the dining room, which was also the kitchen table. We gathered around that table, we brought out our books every day, and we put away our books every day. Right now, 12 years later, we have a room that has a bookcase, it has room for desks, it has the kids' pets in it, the little turtle and lizard that they have, and it's a beautiful room, beautiful space for schooling. And where do we school? At the kitchen table. For us, we just found that being at the kitchen table was much more conducive to that closeness, that one-on-one time, and even group time together. It just works the best for us. We have all of our books and other activity type things for school in that other room, but we sure do bring out those books every day. We do our schoolwork, we pack up, and we put it away every day. I guess we're just weird. To be honest, where you end up schooling will depend on the day. If it's amazing spring weather or gorgeous fall weather, you may be outside on a blanket reading that poetry. You may be out there doing the times tables and then back inside for math or typing to be done on the kitchen table. The second thing to be thinking about is curriculum. You can go in lots of directions with curriculum with homeschooling. For a lot of people, that's a stumbling block because they're really confused, they're really overwhelmed with all of the different options, and I was one of them. The first summer before we started homeschooling, my 2 oldest sons and I went to a homeschool convention. We were totally overwhelmed. There were so many booths and vendors. There were awesome speakers, and we heard and learned a lot of things which were really valuable for us. But to go to that, not knowing exactly what I was going to do, that was overwhelming. I think now if I were to go again, I think I would just go to those speakers and hear all about encouragement for myself and even for the kids and new and different ways to learn and teach. Being able to put your hands on some of that curriculum is really great because you can flip through those spelling books and flip through that handwriting and language arts and math stuff. That's really valuable. So among the myriad of choices, I have kind of like a small list of divisions for you to think about. One is the all-in-one type of curriculum. I'm just going to share the ones that we've really liked with you. We've tried several different all-in-ones, and these are the top 3 that we liked. For the younger grades, we like Catholic Heritage Curriculum, and it goes by CHC as well. It's absolutely a Catholic slant to education, absolutely. And I loved it for the preschool and kinder and first grade years. Their small books that we used for learning to read were phenomenal. I couldn't believe that such a simple process worked, and it worked beautifully. And 2 of our kids, I'm so excited to say, I taught how to read. As it goes up in the age groups though, I wanted something a little bit more rigorous for the kids as they were getting a little bit older. So at another time we used Seton Home Study School. A lot of people just refer to it as Seton. Now this is a curriculum that you order and it comes to you, and you can have all of the subjects for each of the grades sent to you. Many of the books are written by the educators at Seton, and they're really high quality. I did find that the high school histories and literatures weren't the best fit for my kids as they were getting to high school, so I looked around for another option. Mother of Divine Grace is another Catholic curriculum which is also a school. Being part of their school, just like being part of Seton Home Study School, requires a certain amount of tuition that you pay, and then you fall under them as a school. So although they're located in California, my kids are under their school. So when it comes time for transcripts and such, Mother Divine Grace is the school that is sending out their transcripts. When they take the ACT and SAT, the school code is the Mother of Divine Grace school code that they put in when they go to those testing sites. Now, the Mother of Divine Grace school also has pre-K all the way up through the end of 12th grade. It is absolutely my favorite way of schooling with my kids. You know, that's really what's key, is you need to see what seems to work for your kids. And you've probably seen, if your kids have been in school for a while, the things that they seem to gravitate to or have an easier time with. Maybe your kids retain and work through better using worksheets or workbooks. And maybe your kids take a different approach, reading good literature and having more conversations. Or maybe it's a combination of all of that. And that's the beauty of homeschooling, is that you can pick and choose for you and your kid. You can also pick and choose from those curriculums. So say you're using the Seton Home Study, history, literature, and maybe you want to use a different spelling or a different handwriting. Another way of schooling is called unschooling. Unschooling is not something that we have done as a family, but I have many friends who have really enjoyed that time with their kids, time of just getting to know their kid again, and then focusing on unit type study, process of learning and examining things that the kids are finding really exciting, and then pulling that into and making it spelling, math, writing about it, looking it up, researching it. It's a really cool way of educating your kid as well. The fourth aspect I want to touch on is community. Lots of people will ask you when you start homeschooling, oh, what about socialization? Are you worried? Are you worried about prom? How about their friends? Do they have friends? It's like the most ridiculous and exhausting question ever. Your kids have the time now, because they're not bogged down with 3 to 4 hours of homework like my guys were when they were younger. There is time to do all kinds of stuff, from sports, traveling sports teams, to fine arts, different types of fine arts, writing music, writing plays, being in plays. There is a myriad of things, and even just getting together with their friends and having that social time that is love. It's super important, and I found it very important as my kids became teenagers to make sure that they still had time with kids their age group, because they had a blast together. And most of the time they were like-minded families, so I could really know that the things being shared and the experiences they were having, if they were at their house or back at our house, were wholesome and good and holy and fun. And that's really important to us. Community is also paramount for the homeschooling parent, because I know I need to have conversations with someone who's in the same boat as me. When I was working as a nurse and we went out to breakfast after night shift, we needed that time to blow off steam, to laugh, to know that even though we had been through sometimes a harrowing shift together, we were okay and we could really support each other. Well, guess what? Homeschooling's very similar. In fact, it's really intense, because when you get off your nursing shift, you get in your car and you go home. And at home, there's the responsibilities of home and family and dog and chores, etc. But you're home, you're done, you're off shift. Homeschooling sometimes feels like you're not off shift. And that's okay. You can have a homeschool time, pack up the stuff or put the things up on the bookshelf, and you're done schooling, and the kids can play or build or create or go to their lessons and things like that. But mom or dad, who's ever schooling, needs that time with other folks who are schooling as well. Time to just reconnect, time to just bounce ideas off of each other, or just laugh about the funny thing that happened that day, or even not talk homeschooling and just talk about being women of God or the husband in the family or those type of things. We need each other as homeschooling parents. And it doesn't have to be a big deal. In fact, the other night was the best. We met up and we went to a drive-in called Swenson's. I don't know if you have a Swenson's in your city, but we do. And we just sat in the car together and had our milkshakes and burgers and just laughed and enjoyed each other. And that was a great boost to reconnect and to know, hey, someone knows what I'm going through and supports me, and we encourage each other. Let's do this. Let's wrap up the school year. It was great. The fourth thing I want you to remember and focus on and schedule is self-care. Self-care is crucial. So making sure you have time to pray in the morning, even before your feet hit the floor and you start that marathon of the day. Prayer, reading something really inspiring, some good book about faith or homeschooling or motherhood or marriage. Being careful with our diet, getting some exercise, change of scenery, getting outside. Really good for us so that we can be the best version of ourselves for our family and for homeschooling. And the fifth is love. You've had this desire, this curiosity about homeschooling in your heart because you just love your kids and you're wondering if this will all work out. It can. You love them, and the type of love in homeschooling is definitely a self-sacrificing love. You will pour yourself out every day, but the reward is phenomenal, and those kids are going to grow up and change the world. So please write in the comments below. Tell me where you're at in your homeschool journey. What decisions have you made? I would love to know. And I will see you in my next video. God bless.